Welcome to another episode of the We Power Podcast, the We Power Broadcast. We're just going to take it simple and take it easy. This is our first podcast of 2022. Double for your trouble. And we're just going to have conversational type podcasts. And this year we will be inviting guests and talking to people who are becoming the subject matter experts in who they are and who God has called them to be. We will have different segments, but there's really this year we're just going to have open topic, open mic, as they say, conversation. And this particular podcast here, the first one, we're just going to talk about identifying what works for you. You know, the pandemic, the George Floyd, and the other things that have happened within the past couple of years has really opened up a lot of social injustice that's been there all along. It's really opened up a lot of negativity. It's really opened up a lot of darkness that has just been there all along. But through the advancement of technology, the internet, social media, now we're able to put eyes on it. Not only eyes, but eyes meaning plural. Plural meaning all around the world. Everything that's been happening for years and decades and centuries has now been put out on display. But I contend and I challenge you with everything that has been going on, with everything that has been happening, with everything that has been distracting our vision, distracting what we see or what we should be seeing, to focus on all the darkness. And don't get me wrong. The darkness has to be dealt with, and the darkness is being dealt with, and the darkness will be dealt with. But what I challenge you is to not so much for you to focus on all the negativity, focus on all the darkness, focus on what mainstream media is trying to distract you with. Yeah, we pay attention to it. Yes, we recognize it. But within you, within me, within us as individuals, within our community, we have the ability to do something about it by understanding we have to work together. One of the essential pieces of being strong as we work together is simple. Our solution, really, hear me now, our solution is really simple. But because of all of the distractions and because of all of the negativity that bombards us on a daily basis, because of the misrepresentation of what we identify as being successful, there's so many different angles that have been imparted into our thought processes that it creates an individualism that we don't even know, that causes us to be separated. It causes us to not be able to line up in agreement. But I contend, and I challenge you. I challenge myself. One of the most essential elements in us coming together as a community and working together is simple. If you ever taken a trip on the airplane, then you know exactly where I'm going with this. Let me back up. When the oxygen mask drops, before you try to help somebody else, it's very important that you put on your oxygen mask first and make sure that it is secure. And then proceed to help somebody else. The topic of this particular podcast, you have to identify what works for you that would allow you to be on a solid foundation to help you be in a position to help somebody else. And by identifying what works for you, I'm talking about the noble things, the right things, the legal things, the things that work for you but doesn't cause anybody else harm, the things that work for you that puts you on a solid foundation, that gives you stability to be able to help somebody else. And not only to be able to help somebody else, but to come in contact and identify with the energy, the positive energy, the positive strength that allows you to be excited at being on a solid foundation and being in a stable position where you are excited to be able to cast down a rope of hope for the next person, that they can become strong, that they can become stable, that they can be in a position to do the same thing. With everything that has happened within the past, specifically the past 2 years, and then it just hasn't been the past 2 years, but the past 2 years has really caused the world to stop. The pandemic has caused the world to stop. Probably one of the best things and the worst thing that has happened. Because with everything that has happened, what it has literally done, if you've been able to see, if you've been able to watch all of the moving parts, it has exposed and it has made available a plethora of opportunities. It has literally leveled the playing field from those who have and from those who have not. Now, some of us have been able to recognize that and make moves and move toward and identify the opportunities that work for us, for them, for the individual. That is very crucial, because through the challenges of the past 2 years, through the challenges over the course of your life, through those challenges, if you paid attention, if you haven't paid attention, then I want you at some point to just go back and look over your life through the challenging times. And in those challenging times, you're going to find and you're going to be able to identify the untapped potential that was already on the inside of you, but it was the challenges of life that forced you to reach down and grab that overcoming part of you, to reach down and grab that. It's not that I can do it, it's that I've got to do it. If I'm going to make it through this, I've got to reach down. I've got to come in contact with the untapped potential that lies down on the inside of me. But for most of us, we're not made aware of it until the challenges come in our life and we're forced to do things that we didn't think that we could do. Even within the last couple of years, these challenges have made you aware of the overcoming power that God put on the inside of you. He created you to be more than a conqueror. And now it is the time to really look back over your life and identify the things that work for you that will put you in a position of stability. Because that which works for you gives you the opportunity to serve or solve a solution that somebody else has. Whether it's another individual, whether it's a business or another organization. And with the power of the internet, that business or that individual might be clear on the other side of the globe, might be overseas, might be in another country, might be in another state. And all they need is what God puts into you to teach them or to show them how to level up with the challenges that they have, so they can get to that place where they can see and identify what works for them. And when we get to that place, when you get to that place, when I get to that place, and we connect, when we connect, that connection builds strength. That connection builds a solid foundation, a place of stability, not only for the individual, but it builds a place of stability for our community, And community has different levels. First, we start with the community of self. Then we start with the community of family. Then we start with the community of our immediate environment, our neighborhood. Then we start with the community that extends beyond our neighborhood. And it takes all of those individual pieces coming together, operating in the lane that works for them so that it can strengthen the lane that's next to them in the proper position. When you look at the makeup of our bodies, God created us where our feet are not directly connected to our hands. He created the members of our body. He created the community of our body to be properly placed in the position where they work best. And that's it in a nutshell. Identify what works for you so you can identify the position within the community that works best for you. And through my experience, as you do that, you will come in contact with like-minded communities. You will come in contact with like-minded people. And it's very important that you lay aside every weight and sin that can distract you. It's very important that you do not, and this is another talk, this is very important that you do not allow the offense to rob you of the opportunity to building a place of stability where the community in which you live and operate, whether it's the community of family, whether it's the community of a business or organization or a church or government, whatever community you find yourself to be in, identify what works for you and become a subject matter expert in what works for you. Increase your learning capacity, increase your knowledge and your skill set when you identify what it is that works for you. And here at WePower, that's one of the things that we specialize in. When I work with my clients, I don't work with my clients from a standpoint of what's working for everybody else. I work with my clients from the standpoint of what works for them. And then we're able to look at and expose the organic opportunities that are all around them. We expose the organic problems that what works for them becomes the solution to the organic problems that are in their particular community, that's in their immediate community. When we identify what works for them, then we create a process that allows them to put their oxygen mask on first and secure it so that they can move about the community, working with other like-minded members of the community to create wealth, to create generational community wealth, to create multiple streams of community wealth. This has been the WePower podcast. I'm your host, Philip Moore, aka P. Anthony, the Underground Professor. Stay tuned for more podcasts. We'll try to do them as often as we are led to do them. Do me a favor, become a monthly subscriber to this podcast. Become a monthly supporter of this podcast for only 99 cents a month. And we'll continue to create content that will inspire you, that will motivate you, that will challenge you to be the best you God created you to be. You see, here at WePower, we believe that one person's noble passion can be the solution to another person's problem. And our goal, our mission, is to expose the passions in people that we can expose solutions for our community. Be blessed. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast has been brought to you by Stretch Indy. Yeah, check out my man, Tony, at Stretch Indy. And man, he will stretch you back into life. Check him out. Give him a call at 317-828-1490. Give Tony a call at Stretch Indy. Get that body right. 317-828-1490. Thank you, Tony, for sponsoring this podcast. Give him a call and allow him to stretch you back to life. Stretch Indy.